In the 2016 film Sultan, Arfa, the character played by Anushka Sharma, gives her wrestler husband Sultan, played by Salman Khan, a stinging rebuke for earning arrogance while she wanted him to earn respect. मैंने तुझे इज्जत कमाने को कहा था, तू तो गुरूर कमा के आ गया सुल्तान. That's what she said. Many Indians may relate to her better now. On Monday, the might of the state was on display as the police lathi charged and used tear gas to prevent thousands of young demonstrators from reaching the parliament to protest against irregularities in medical entrance examinations and demand the resignation of Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan. Activist Sonam Wangchuk, who was on a fast for 3 weeks before being forcibly taken to Safdarjung Hospital, could not join them as he said he was under illegal detention. Even as thousands of students were struggling to cross police barricades to reach the parliament, Prime Minister Narendra Modi delivered his customary address before the start of the session. He made no mention of what was happening to India's youth, barely a few hundred meters from where he stood, as if they did not matter. Lauding the successful launch of a rocket by Hyderabad based company, the PM took a not so veiled swipe at Rahul Gandhi, saying that the feat was achieved by those with an average age of 28 years, not some 56-year-old young man. It was out of context. The joke was supposed to be on the 56-year-old leader of the opposition in the Lok Sabha. But its timing, with the state's brute power and display against students and youth in the national capital, seemed to be a reminder of the 56-inch chest, a metaphor for a strong and decisive government. Let me first try to play the devil's advocate. Aspiring doctors, students, and youth in general need to understand that PM Modi does not speak on anything that is negative about his government. He does not want to repeat the mistakes made by former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and then UPA chairperson Sonia Gandhi, who easily buckled under the opposition's pressure and yielded to public outrage. Remember how many union ministers and chief ministers they sacrificed? External Affairs Minister Natwar Singh over oil for food scandal, Home Minister Shivraj Patil for 26/11 terror attack, actually for changing his clothes way too often during that crisis. Maharashtra CM Vilasrao Deshmukh for its inept handling, actually for giving a tour of terror hit Taj to his actor Sanritesh and filmmaker Ram Gopal Verma. Deshmukh's successor Ashok Chavan for the others scam. Union Law Minister Ashwini Kumar for alleged interference in a CBI probe, and many, many more. A senior Congress leader once told me about his conversation with Sonia Gandhi, who apparently conceded to him that asking the union ministers and chief ministers to resign was a mistake, as it only made the opposition more strident. I would not call it a mistake, though. A democratically elected government must respond to public sentiments, even if it has to pay a political cost. The Modi government obviously does not see it that way. Lakhs of students and their families may be feeling outraged over the NEET UG paper leak and lapses and irregularities in other examinations. The Modi government won't, however, yield to their demand for the education minister's resignation, as it would be a sign of weakness. How did the show of respect for public sentiment serve the Manmohan Singh government? It only made people more demanding and unforgiving, making the UPA government look increasingly weak. The UPA government folded under public support for Anna Hazare's fast unto death within 12 days and yielded to his demand. This laid the foundation for the UPA's eventual ouster. Do you even remember if the Lokpal exists today? Anyway, this should explain the Modi government's refusal to even acknowledge the protest by the Cockroach Janata Party and Wangchuk's 3-week-long fast. When it threatened to become a nuisance in front of Parliament, the police just bundled Wangchuk out to a hospital. His wife wants to shift him to a private facility, but the authorities won't let her do that. The government was obviously taken aback on Monday. it probably did not expect students and youth from across the country to move beyond social media and descend on the country's capital in thousands in support of Wangchuk and the CJP. Health Minister JP Nadda had to give an audience to a CJP delegation as the police lathi charged and tear gas did not seem to break the morale of the young protesters. The only other time the Modi government buckled in the past was when it had to scrap the farm laws due to farmers' prolonged protests on Delhi's borders. I'm not sure yet if the government finds Monday's protest electorally alarming enough to make a second exception. But the massive protest did force PM Modi to break his silence on this issue. Addressing the NDA parliamentary party meeting on Tuesday, Modi called the NEET UG paper leak a grave sin and said that those responsible for it have been held accountable. There was no question of conceding any failure, of course. The PM told the MPs that paper leaks used to happen earlier also, but now the action is taken. Basically, this government is only correcting the mistakes of the previous governments. That's what it meant, actually. A familiar line, but anyway. What's perplexing is that the PM broke his silence to NDA MPs. For a prime minister who chooses to communicate directly with the people, his reluctance to address the students and the youth directly is inexplicable. The Modi government needs to do a rethink. Listen to what these young protesters are saying. It's not just about the NEET paper leak anymore. It's not even about Dharmendra Pradhan's resignation. Among the protesters were teenagers who have passed out of prestigious public schools in the national capital and even got admission in Delhi University or other universities. They were not affected by the paper leak, but they were coming to Janata Mantra to do what many of them said was their moral duty, quote unquote moral duty. The government's refusal to even engage with protesting students and Wangchuk is precisely what has triggered these teenagers and youth. Members of students' organizations affiliated to some political parties did lend support, and some parties did bring in their supporters. But it would be a mistake for the government to look at the crowds on Delhi roads as a work of the political opposition. NEET paper leak is just the latest trigger. The huge gathering seems to be a cumulative effect of small grievances that have been building up. When protesters talk about the government's refusal to engage with the youth, they are only voicing their frustration with the system in which they have no say. Take, for instance, the government's diktat about a three-language policy in CBSE schools, which stipulates two native Indian languages, with English virtually becoming a foreign language, the third language. I have met so many students and parents, including many Modi supporters, who are upset with this. They see it as a virtual imposition of Sanskrit and an exclusion of foreign languages. See, if a child is studying in a Delhi school, they would opt for Hindi as one of the native languages and English as a third language. As for the second native language, the choice is severely limited. Students may want to opt for Kannada, Tamil, Telugu, Bengali, Gujarati, or Marathi as the second native language. Schools would find it difficult to hire teachers for each of these languages. They would find it easier to hire a Sanskrit teacher to meet the second native language criterion. And what if students and their parents want a foreign language to be taught in the school? They can't because the government won't let them. Not directly, but by putting in a system where you just won't have that option. Did the government ask these parents and students what they wanted? No. If someone aspires to become a doctor and join King George Medical University in Lucknow, they must become a vegetarian first because UP Governor Anandiben Patel is a vegetarian. While the BJP leaders went on a non-veg binge before the West Bengal Assembly elections, one of the first things the party did after coming to power was to exclude eggs from midday meals in schools. Were the parents consulted? No. One BJP ruled state after another has been bringing laws to regulate live-in relationships. prescribing fines and imprisonment for not registering. Were the youth or their parents asked if they would like the government to pry into their bedrooms? No. People have many other issues. To cite just another instance, they don't know what to do with their cars, as the government's decision to increase ethanol blending to 20% would reduce the vehicle's mileage and could potentially damage them. These are just a few of many, many grievances the youth, the students, their parents have. They hear just one response from the government: I'm your benefactor. I give your parents free food grains, free medical facilities, cash, and whatnot. Don't ask questions. We know what's good for you. Ask not what the government should do for you, but what you can do for us, the government. PM Modi may want to rethink such messaging. That's all from me in this episode of Politically Correct. Thanks for watching.